What's up, guys? This is Preheat, world first raider in complexity limit and guide writer for Wowhead, and today's video is going to be a special one. So we're going to be talking about a one-button combustion macro that works just as well as manually using combustion, even if you have Berserking, even if you have Lust. Basically, this is just a one-button stop to just perfectly do your combustion with Infernal Cascade. And yeah, so quick disclaimer on this. Obviously, if I'm putting this out there, I want to give you guys a disclaimer. I think that trying to get better at the game is a good thing. I think that one-button macros can be bad in some cases. They can also be good, right? They're a tool, so it's just about how you use it. But over-reliance on them can be a little bit bad. So I hope that if you use my macro, that you actually learn how to combust manually as well. That being said, I'm still going to share it because this is like way too crazy to just keep to myself, right? Like this macro is just absolutely nuts. So if you're still learning how to combust, definitely use this macro and also keep learning, right? Like don't just stop with the macro. But yeah, also don't make fun of people who are still learning how to combust if they're using this macro, right? Although you won't really be able to tell anyways because it does the same damage. Yeah, anyways, this macro was a suggestion from someone in my community named British Boomer. He laid the groundwork with kind of like a baby version of this macro, and then I just took it all the way to its logical conclusion. The macro is only going to work in single target, but as you can see, it's just spamming one button and it works, right? So it's hard to beat that. Anyways, without further ado, let's get to the macro. All right, so I figured it would be easiest for me to just kind of narrate over this video. Basically, here I precast Fireball, and then I start spamming the macro. At this point, I'm literally only pressing one button. I want to reiterate that and really get that through to you guys. This is all just one button being pressed over and over and over again. Now, this was at normal speed. Let's see it again a little bit slower. All right, so we're going to go over this again slower, and this time I'm going to put the macro on the screen. That way you can kind of see what's going on. So basically, this is with Lust, Berserking, everything. You precast Fireball. Halfway through the Fireball, you start mashing the macro. The macro will automatically cast 2 Fireblasts into a Pyroblast, into another Pyroblast. After that, it's going to cast a Phoenix Flames into a Pyroblast. And then right before your Infernal Cascade debuff falls, it's going to cast a Fire Blast into a Pyroblast, resetting your Infernal Cascade buff, into a Phoenix Flame, and then another Pyroblast. And then it's going to finish off with a Fire Blast, Pyroblast here, and then a Phoenix Flame, Pyroblast. Now keep in mind, this is with a lot of haste. Obviously, if you have even more haste, then you're going to have to take over, right? Because macros only have a certain amount of characters to them. You can't just add infinite amount of characters to a macro. But this macro should get you at least 90% through your combustion, even if you have haste values that we can't even reach yet. But if you don't have those high haste values, then obviously the macro is going to do just fine for you. Also, another thing to be aware of, so if you are Vintier, for instance, and you need to use Mirrors of Torment, basically how you would use Mirrors of Torment in your combustion is you would just cast it before that Fireball that you start off with. Now, obviously, if you're getting resets on your Fire Blast, right, and you're wondering, like, what should I do at the end of the macro, or what should I do at the end of combustion if you've got a whole bunch of haste? Just, if you have Fire Blasts, use them, right? Use them first. So Fire Blast, Pyroblast, if you have that. If you don't have those, what you're going to want to do is Phoenix Flame, Pyroblast. If you don't have a Phoenix Flame, then what you're going to do is Scorch, Pyroblast. And if you don't have enough time to do any of those things, and you're close enough to the target that you can Dragon's Breath them, then just use the very, very last global of your combustion to just let a Dragon's Breath rip. Now, as far as other Covenant abilities go, as you know, they nerfed the Mage Covenant ability, Shifting Power for Night Fae. You're going to be using Shifting Power basically right after you get done with your combustion. In AoE, you know, if you want to, you can drop a Rune of Power and then cast your Shifting Power. You can also cast Shifting Power into Rune of Power. I think overall in like single target sims, it ends up being about the same. As far as other Covenant abilities go, you're going to want to just use those before you combust. So if you've got Radiant Spark, basically you would use that right before you do your initial Fireball that you saw in the macro. If you have the Necrolord one, Deathborne, then you're going to want to cast that before the pull. But that really does it. I mean, that's literally all there is to it, guys. Use this macro if you feel like you need help in combustion. Use it if you want to learn how to combust. But please, I hope that if you're using this macro that you actually learn how to combust as well, right? Because I feel like it's an important skill for us to have as Fire Mages. But obviously, having a one-button macro is pretty sick too. All right, so if you liked the video, thumbs up it. And if you appreciate my content and you want to see more of it, then go ahead and click that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. That way you'll be notified for all my future videos. Anyways, thanks guys for watching. Peace.